All right, 22. Philosopher. Wolves do not tolerate an attack by one wolf on another if the latter wolf demonstrates submission by baring its throats. Okay, so wolves do not tolerate an attack by one wolf onto another if the later wolf demonstrates submission by baring its throat. Okay, so if one wolf attacks another and that other wolf like demonstrates submission, other wolves are not going to tolerate that to happen. The same is true of foxes and domesticated dogs. Okay, so what they don't tolerate is also true of foxes and domesticated dogs. So it would be erroneous to deny that animals have rights on the grounds that only human beings are capable of obeying moral rules. So our conclusion here is it would be erroneous, or it would be crazy to deny that animals have rights on the grounds that only human beings are capable of obeying moral rules. So we're saying that, hey, these other things must have moral rules too that they obey. So how do we, the argument proceed by, okay, so how do we get to this conclusion? So if I was going to predict my answer, I would say we give an example of what wolves do. That's kind of like one of these like moral rules of them like obeying it. And then we go on to give like another example of where it's also true with foxes and domesticated dogs. So that we are showing like, yeah, this is why it would be crazy to deny that animals also have these grounds just because humans aren't, because clearly the humans are not the only ones capable of obeying moral rules, because they actually gave us examples of those. All right, so A, provide counterexamples. Oh, I like that. To refute a premise on which a particular conclusion is based. Okay, so I can see why this one would be tricky, but do we provide counterexamples? Yes. Do we use these counterexamples here, the wolves, the foxes, and the domesticated dogs, to refute a premise on which a particular conclusion is based? So the particular conclusion would be that animals do not have rights on grounds. And so whatever premise that is based on is what we're denying here. B, established inductively that all animals possess some form of morality. I don't think that we're not trying to establish that all animals have some form of morality. We're just saying that human beings are not the only ones. C, cast doubt on the principle that being capable of obeying moral rules is a necessary for having. No, we do not. We're not trying to say that being capable of obeying rules is necessary for having rights. We never once bring in contrast either of those. D, establish a claim by showing that the denial of that claim entails a logical contradiction. I think that establish a claim. Are we trying to establish a claim, or are we refuting a claim? We're not trying to establish that this happened. We're refuting the idea that we're refuting the idea that animals do not have rights or that human beings are the only one. And then E, provide evidence suggesting that the concept of morality is often applied too broadly. No. So our answer is going to be A.